Cek, cek. Cek. Foto. Kamu itu. Okay, please stay silent, alright? Good morning, Dr. Onitsuka.
Good morning. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you
Let's
hear me?
just wait for a while, okay?
Okay.
Kalau mau siapa itu? Nanti kalau dimatikan dulu aja. Ini nyala, agak tahan, sama mati.
Ini nggak masuk di sini ya, masuk? Nggak masuk kan? Oke, adik-adik semua, peraturan pada kita hari ini adalah dilarang ramai, ya. Silakan memperhatikan, because ini adalah kuliah yang tidak biasa dengan Dr. Kenichiro Onitsuka, sehingga kalau misalnya ramai, Indonesia malu, ya, seperti itu ya. Kemudian Q&A nanti bisa maju ya, atau menggunakan mic yang ada di sini, oke? Kita atas nama Universitas Brawijaya dan juga Indonesia, ya, baik. Belum?
Okay, good morning, everyone. Ms. Novi, can we start it now? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the 3-in-1 class in Brawijaya University, Introduction to Agribusiness Management. Let me introduce myself first. So my name is Jeda Ayu Ingrida, and I will be your host today. On this event, we have several agendas as follows: opening speech and main event. And for the picture, first agenda, opening speech by Head of Undergraduate Program Studi Agribusiness, Dr. Dwi Retno Andriani. So Mrs. Dwi Retno Andriani, time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Jeda. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning for all. Okay, I'm honored to stand before you today as the head of Department of Agriculture Socioeconomic of Brawijaya University, Kediri. It is with a great pleasure and enthusiasm that I welcome you to this gathering where I come together to explore and discuss critical aspects of agricultural socio-economic that affect our world today. Okay, for the first, I say thank you so much for the Honorable Associate Professor Mr. Kenichiro Onitsuka, and then Mr. Edi Purwanto, and also Mr. Septian, and all of you. Okay, as we convenient here, we are not just a group of individuals, but a community of scholars, experts, and passionate individuals who share common goals, that advancement of knowledge and understanding in the field of agriculture socio-economics. It is field that is not only vital but also profoundly relevant given this ever-evolving dynamic of our global agriculture landscape. Our department has a long-standing commitment to excellence in research and education. We recognize the intricate web of social and then economic, environment factor that shape the agriculture sector, and we take pride in our dedication to unraveling these complexities. In our pursuit of excellence, we embrace a holistic approach that consider that well-being of farmer, that sustainability of agriculture practices, the economic prosperity and of rural communities, and also the global challenges and opportunities that the agriculture sector present. By doing so, we aim to not only address the challenges but also create pathways for innovative solution and growth. Okay. Today we have the privilege of bringing together not only distinguished speakers but also a diverse audience that include lecturers from our agribusiness management course, members of the organizing committee who have worked tirelessly to make this event possible, and participants from class E and B who are the future leader of our industry. I also want to extend our heartfelt thanks to our keynote speaker, Associate Professor Kenichiro Onitsuka, PhD from Kyoto University. Dr. Onitsuka expertise and research are invaluable addition to our discussion today, and we appreciate his presence. This success of events, this is a result of collective effort and dedication. I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you, without whom this event would not be possible. Your commitment and enthusiasm are the driving force behind our mission to advance knowledge and make a positive impact. Without further ado, let us commence in this attending program and work together to enhance our understanding of agriculture, socio-economic, and doing so contribute to the betterment in our world. Okay, thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Ratno, for such a valuable speech. Second agenda, opening speech by Lecturer of Agribusiness Management, Dr. Edi Purwanto. To Mr. Edi Purwanto, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Miss Judah, Master of Ceremony today. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Ohio, the Honorable Mr. Onitsuka, Associate Professor from Kyoto University, Mrs. Retno Dwi Andayani, as Head of Agribusiness Study Program, Faculty of Agriculture, Brawijaya University, Mr. Septian, Mr. Septian, Lecturer, and Mrs. Novi Haryati as moderator, and all agribusiness students. Yeah. Firstly, we would like to say thank you, Mr. Onitsuka, for giving his precise time to our guest lecture today. The theme of today's guest lecture is to explain the strategic role of farmers and their contribution to agriculture progress and the nation food security. We all know that farmers have a role as the main workforce in the agriculture sector and also as the main food producer. However, there are still several problems that need immediate solution that require collective thinking, such as issues of regulation, transfer of knowledge and technology, land ownership status and its size, of cost, and farmer welfare. We hope that the presence of Mr. Onitsuka will provide a lot of knowledge and wonderful insight for students, so that we have a greater awareness of how important the farmer's profession is in supporting food security and the strength of the nation. Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu. Bubika arima shitara. Gomen nasai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Edi, for such a joyful speech and committed lecturer of agribusiness management. Now we continue to third agenda for our keynote speaker, Associate Professor Kenichiro Onitsuka. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, and please welcome to our event. For this agenda, our beloved moderator will take a lead to Ms. Novi Haryati as the moderator. Time is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Head of Agribusiness Study Program, University of Brawijaya, Kediri, Honorable Dr. Edi Purwanto, Mr. Septian, Jeda Ayu Ingrida, and all of the participants today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Novi Haryati, and I'm honored to be your moderator for today. And today's 3-in-1 program is introductory to agribusiness management. We are gathered here on Friday, 27 October 2023 at the PSDKU UB Kediri Building, Kediri, Indonesia for this informative event. So today, our distinguished guest speaker is Associate Professor Kenichiro Onitsuka, PhD from Kyoto University. So ladies and gentlemen, we have packed schedule with 2 informative sessions and a Q&A session. But before we dive into discussion, let's take a moment for me to introduce our speakers. All right, so Dr. Kenichiro Onitsuka has an impressive background. So after completing his master's degree in agriculture, specializing in rural planning, he gained nearly 10 years of experience in the software development industry. In 2010, he embarked on an academic career at Kyoto University, enrolling in the doctoral course and focusing on rural community development through the application of new technologies, particularly social media. With the challenges of aging and depopulation reaching critical levels in numerous rural communities, the restructuring of rural social networks involving diverse stakeholders within and outside the community has become imperative. So since 2015, his research interests have expanded to include additional communication and visualization technologies, such as 3D modeling, virtual reality or augmented reality, and drones, within the realms of rural planning. Simultaneously, he has also directed his attention to addressing the negative consequences of technology integration, such as the erosion of strong social ties and the declining value of human resources due to mechanization. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Dr. Kenichiro Onitsuka.
Oh, good morning,
Hello, good
everyone.
morning.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, yeah. Thank you very much for rotating the camera to the students. Now I can see many students here
right.
attending this class. Yeah, I'm very happy to see you.
Okay.
Sorry to join this session, a very interesting session from far away from Japan. Yeah, I'm really regret that I cannot directly physically be there. Yeah, yeah. Having some time with you, but yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for very nice introduction, Nobi-san. Nobi-san. Nobi-san sounds a very kind of Japanese
Yes.
name. Nobi-san.
Nobi Haryati.
Haryati is not so popular, but Nobi is the name of the
Yes,
Doraemon.
Haryati is named for Indonesian.
Nobita.
Yeah.
Nobita. maybe you may know the name of the one boy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very popular. Okay, so again, thank you very much. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to give a kind of short speech or kind of lecture to all of you from Japan. And firstly, yes, as Nobi-san or others introduced, I guess the topic of this or key topic of this session is like introduction to agribusiness management.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But I think my topic is not directly related to agribusiness, but more kind of fundamental issues because
okay.
my research area is, yeah, of course, agriculture is one a very big topic, even in the current my research agenda. But at the same time, in Japan, yeah, agriculture is very important. But at the same time, the rural community or rural society is more critical. Because without the very healthy or vital rural society, we cannot continue the agriculture or agribusiness in rural areas. That's why many of other kind of rural researchers have focused on the kind of society, rural society. So my topic, today's topic is mainly related to the rural society or societal issues in Japan. But of course, I try to incorporate some topic of the agriculture or agribusiness in my topic, in my presentation. And also, as far as I see today's timetable, I have 1 hour for the first session. It's a bit long, and then also after that, we will have a kind of discussion and discussion session, and the discussion session is also quite long, more than 1 hour. So if you want to know some more about the agriculture or agribusiness, please feel free to let us ask me in the discussion time. So, okay, can I go into the presentation or
Yes, please.
anything? Okay. So I will share the presentation material, PowerPoint slide. Yes. Can you see this clearly?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
we can see it.
Students also can see.
Yes, actually we
Oh.
are in a room full of students here. Say hi,
Yeah,
please,
yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, but is there kind of big screen in front?
Yes, there is big screen in front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so now I'd like to start my first session in the morning. The topic is, as I introduced now, the current issues on rural planning or rural areas in Japan. Yeah, this is the first topic. Okay, so first, maybe Nobi-san, Nobi-san already introduced myself, but I again would like to introduce myself. Wait a minute. Firstly, today's contents, and this is about today's contents. In this lecture or this speech, I mainly talk about the rural planning in Japan, and also I have some key topic regarding the potential of new communication technology, how we apply this kind of new technology to tackle the issues facing rural areas, Japan. And the session one is, as I said, current issues on rural planning in Japan. And the next session in the afternoon will be about the communication technology or practice of this technology introduction to the rural areas. Yeah, self-introduction is a bit duplicated, but yeah, my name is Kenichiro Onitsuka, and my current affiliation is the Sustainable Rural Development Laboratory of Graduate School of Global Environmental Studies, Kyoto University. But actually, originally, this laboratory belonged to Graduate School of Agriculture. And the name was a bit different. The previous name of this laboratory was rural planning. That's why my key topic is also related to rural planning. Yes. And also, as introduced, I had more than 10 years, nearly 10 years of the work experience in the software development industry as a kind of, maybe for the first 3 to 5 years, I just dealt with the kind of programmer, software engineer was programmer. And after that, maybe of course, I helped some software development, but I worked together with some academicians. Yeah, yes. And then, those experience had growth. I grew some much more interest in the academic studies through those experience, working together with some academic researchers. And then maybe you don't need to know, but my birthplace is Kagoshima Prefecture. It's a southernmost prefecture. It's maybe closer to your country than the Kyoto. Yeah, it's a very southern part of Japan, a very hot area. Yes, but at the same time, it was a bit rural. And my hobby, also, I don't need to say much about this, but yeah, hobbies. First, I always love listen to music. I sometimes play some instruments, and sometimes I do some music composition. Yeah, especially when I was a student like you, maybe at age around 20 years old. Yeah, I always listen to music and play some guitars or something. Yeah, and then also now I have several cats in my house. Yeah, this is very good for the stress removal. Yes, for me, and also growing some plants and some traveling by car are also my hobbies. And then one more slide for myself. Yeah, as I said, first I was born in Kagoshima Prefecture, the southernmost part of the Japan islands, except the Okinawa area, the island areas. But soon after the birth, I moved to Tokyo, especially the central part of Tokyo, very commercial or metropolitan areas. Yeah, and I grew in Tokyo until I enrolled in the university in Kyoto. So maybe it was about 20 years. And then I moved to Kyoto to be enrolled in the university, Kyoto University. But after the graduation from the master course from Kyoto University, then I moved to some Kanto area again for taking part of the jobs. And I sometimes lived in this type of very kind of mountainous areas. Yeah, mountainous areas. I did some homework, remote works from here. I directly together with some people working in Tokyo. Yeah, and then I fully used the kind of social media or some other communication technology while I was working in this type of area, mountainous area. Then I finally realized that the potential or the power of the social media or some other communication tool, or especially the online communication tool, for potential for the rural revitalization. That is actually the entrance point of my research interests. Yeah. Then again, I grew my interest in the rural areas during this work experience. Then I finally decided to come back to the Kyoto University and do the PhD study. And that's a brief introduction of myself. But from this slide, I don't need you to know much of me. But I just want to say that I had a very long experience in both the urban life as well as the rural life. Yeah, that's why my perspective is not only from the rural perspective. Sometimes I have some urban mindset of the urban people. Yeah, that is my characteristics. Okay, so this is the self-introduction of myself. Okay, so now I move on to the main topic. So first, I want you to know, I want you to catch the current situation of the rural areas in Japan. Yes, and you may already know, but I again want to ask this question: what is rural area? Then actually, rural area is of course known as a place for farming. As you can see on the in the picture on the right side, this is a very typical Japanese rural village. Actually, my laboratory always invites some students from Indonesia, so I have a lot of opportunities to talk to Indonesian students, and then everybody says that a Japanese rural area is quite beautiful, very clean, and houses are also very good, and roads are very also clean. Something like that. And they always say that what is problem? What is problem in this type of area? It is already enough, good enough. This is very major opinion from the Indonesian students, actually. I don't know how you feel about this area. But yeah. And also the life condition is not so bad. Yeah. And rural area also has a kind of affluent natural resources. As you can see, it's always surrounded by the mountains or forests, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And also, as you can see here, this is maybe in this part, you can see some settlements or a lot of houses near the mountain. Yeah, this is a kind of village or residential areas. But residential area is surrounded by some clearly divided by some other areas by these mountains or forests. So they are more to say maybe I can say that it is a bit in isolated place. So in this type of isolated place, there are some special local traditions or cultures have been grown. So many people consider how to use this type of very local traditions or culture for the rural revitalization. For example, the agricultural business or the tourism issues. And also, as you can see, this is an isolated area, so a very strong community ties has been grown, established in this type of area. Yeah. This is a very typical characteristics of the Japanese rural areas or rural communities. But actually, even in the academic field, we do not have a very clear definition of rural areas. Yeah, actually. I want to know about Indonesian case. Yeah, if there is some clear definition of rural areas in Indonesia. But anyway, it should be discussed later in the discussion. Very rough definition is like this. This rural area is defined as an area of non-DID, densely inhabited district. Yes. So DID is definitely the urban areas with a high population density. But other parts, every other part is all rural areas. Yeah, this is a very rough definition. Yeah. So rural area can cover majority of the national land in Japan. Yes. Okay, so this is I want to explain the fundamental challenge for rural sustainability or the current rural areas. This is actually very simple. We have totally three fundamental challenges of Japanese rural areas, which are the depopulation and aging and diversification or urbanization. And the first two, depopulation and aging, are very well known, even for some people in other countries. Yeah, everybody knows that Japan is a country with a very rapid depopulation, depopulating population or aging population. Yes, but the diversification also matters sometimes. Diversification, because what I can say about diversification is like, previously rural area is isolated, so many people, most of the people did farming. They were farmers, but now farming does not need so much farmer population compared to before, due to some mechanization or some other techniques or technologies. So most of the people now in rural areas do not need to engage in the agriculture or agribusiness. That means they often commute to some nearby cities and do some job for a company, private companies or the local governments or something like that. And then come back to the area just for sleeping or, this is a very typical lifestyle, even in rural areas. So, not like before, now rural people are very various. There are variety of people living in rural areas, and they do not need to directly communicate or collaborate with some other residents. That's why this leads to weakening community functions in rural areas. So people do not always help each other. They don't need to help each other. Yeah, that is another issue, a bit novel, new issue in rural areas. And maybe this situation is, yeah, I know that this situation is completely different from the Indonesia. Yeah, I sometimes visited Indonesian rural communities, and then I found that there are so many young people, children, running on the streets even in rural areas in Indonesia. So its situation is quite different. Yeah. But at the same time, I hear from some Indonesian students that, yeah, there are many big population in rural areas in Indonesia, but the farmer population or some people who are interested in the agriculture or farming business has been decreasing even in Indonesia. So maybe in the near future, even Indonesian rural communities may face the very similar issues in the rural area. So that's why I want you to know the very extreme experience of Japan at this present. Yes. Okay. So this is just a very clear data for the population decrease in Japan. And you can see the red line, sorry, this one. The blue line or blue bars are about the population in urban area, and the red one for rural areas. And as you can see, population of rural urban area has been growing so rapidly after 1960 or 1970 due to some very rapid economic growth, as Indonesia now face. But Japan also has a growing, population has been growing so rapidly in urban area. But that means that, in other words, it means that the urban area always absorbs the population from rural areas. So in rural area, population already started decreasing even in this period, 1960 or 1970. Yes. And also the aging, high proportion of the elderly people also advanced rapidly advanced in rural areas. Maybe the time difference is about 10 to sometimes 20 years. So rural areas, that the population has been very serious topic, even since long time ago. And this is also very typical scenery or landscape of the Japanese rural areas, rural village in mountainous areas. Yes. Yeah, as you can see, even you may feel that this area is quite good. Yeah, life quality is not so bad, actually. There are for example, no holes on the road, and also most of the people have a kind of private car, so it's not so hard to move to the kind of nearby cities or urban areas. So it is not so bad. But as you can see, this is also very typical. We cannot see children in this type of area. Yeah. So we always see this type of elderly people, only elderly people. And also, all the elderly people are engaged in the agriculture. Yeah, that is the issue. And of course, these type of elderly people do not have a kind of power or energy compared to the younger people. So sometimes it is very hard to continue the agriculture in this area. So some agricultural land are turned to this type of abandoned area or deteriorated area. So it is not easy to convert this back to the farmlands. Yeah, it is already a bit deteriorated. And that is also issue. And this type of area has been growing, especially in this type of mountainous area. And also, this is the proportion of the elderly people in Japan, and especially in this type of area. And then you can see how rapid it is. For population decrease in this area. Maybe about 5% decreased in every 5 years. Yes. So how you can see how rapid it is. And finally, this is also the sort of the population pyramid in Japan. This is not only for the rural areas, but for the all over Japan. Even as of the 2010 or 2015, the population pyramid is like this, including urban areas. Yeah. So as you can see, there are less younger population, compared to the elderly population. Yeah. So and then maybe 20 to 30 years later, this population pyramid will be like this. And it's quite severe. Majority is elderly people, and younger people are very few younger people. Yes. Okay. So, and this is this is in Japanese, but this is regarding the population or migration of Japan, people migration, a chronological change of the migration. Maybe you don't understand this clearly, but I briefly explained that. Okay, so first this orange lines are about the rural areas, and then this red line on the upper part is the Tokyo metropolitan areas, and then the purple lines are for the Osaka, the Kansai metropolitan areas, the population change. And green one is about the Nagoya. Actually, those three are known as the three biggest metropolitan areas in Japan. And as you can see, even since the 1950 or 1960, when was a kind of rapid economic growth, the population of these urban areas has been growing, as you saw in the last slides, and on the other hand, the population of the rural area has been decreasing so rapidly. Yes, and this is the number of the migrated people. But the migration, it seems like the migration stops at around 1975 or 1980, around here. Yeah, the migration is quite low after this period. But this is because that it doesn't mean that the situation is mitigated. Yeah, but it means that nearly all the younger population already finished moving out to urban areas. Yeah, so that's why this becomes nearly zero. Yes. And since after that, you can see that even some metropolitan areas has continuously absorbed the population from rural areas. Yeah, this is a very continuous tradition in Japan. Yeah, and also this figure shows that the kind of who actually migrate from rural to urban. Yes, and then each color refers to each color corresponds to each age group. You can see that this, for example, this age group is about from 28 years old to 29, younger people, and this is about 20 to 24, maybe like you. And you can see most of the migrants are younger people. Yeah, at first glance you can see that. Yeah, this is because that younger people often has to, for example, get enrolled in the university. But of course, in rural areas, there are no universities. So they need to go out to the urban areas for education. And also, maybe some younger people has to find a job. But there are not so many job opportunities in rural areas. That's why they also need to go out. Yeah, this is a very fun, basic reason why younger people go out from the rural areas. And due to some communication, depopulation or out-migration, as well as some urbanization or diversification. There may be this weakening community function is a very serious issue in Japan, yeah, especially in rural areas. Yeah, because community function is a very popular word in Japan, Japanese rural studies, but it might be unfamiliar to others. But simply speaking, the community function is definitely the functions of the local residents to keep area sustainable. Yeah, maybe you can understand this word, something like that. Yeah, and there are several types of the community functions by local residents. For example, the local residents always is engaged in the kind of regional resource management, for exemplified by the maintenance of the irrigation canals or roads, or mowing of the slopes or forest or something like that. This type of works should be done by the local residents. Yes. And also some regional promotion or sometimes regional business also should be considered by local residents. And also they sometimes need to have some meeting to discuss about the future plan of the areas. This is so-called autonomy. And they often have some mutual supports with each other, and they support each other. And also they have some very specific, unique culture and traditions. So yeah, the community has to keep this culture tradition, conserve this. And also disaster risk reduction also is a very important role of the local residents. But due to the kind of population decline and some very weakening community ties, these community functions has been deteriorating so rapidly. And also maybe this is also connected to the kind of weakening agribusiness for this topic. That's why I need to focus on we need to focus on this type of very fundamental issues in Japan. And also, if we can keep these healthy community functions in Japan, in rural areas, then finally we can keep this very important roles of rural areas, like food provision, food production, as well as some other multifunctional roles, like prevention of land erosion or beautiful landscape, etc. Yeah, this type of multifunctional roles. Yeah, so this is very fundamental. How we can keep this community function. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I just briefly mentioned something about the kind of agriculture or food issues in Japan. Yeah, briefly, you can see that first, Japan is a very kind of popular country for rice production, because staple food is rice always in Japan. So there are a lot of farmlands, paddy fields in rural areas, you can see. But Japan's rice consumption per capita has been decreasing so rapidly, actually. Nearly about 60 years ago, one person ate rice, 118 kilograms per year. Yeah, this is about more than 60 years ago. But now it is half, nearly the half. So even Japanese people do not always have rice because we have some other alternative options. For example, like bread, pasta, or something like that. Yeah. So this type of significant change in food consumption patterns, sometimes leads to a kind of deterioration of the paddy field. Yeah, because paddy field is not so profitable anymore compared to before, compared to the past. That's why people, especially the rice farmers, tend to abandon some paddy fields, because of the low productivity or profitability. And also Japanese food sufficiency rate, on the other hand, is quite low, as known popularly, as known worldwide. Yeah, this Japan food self-sufficiency rate is nearly about 38%. Yes. for other 62% are imported from some other countries. Yes. But at the same time, maybe we now face this situation. World population has been growing so rapidly. Yeah, at the same time. And now it's already, the world population has already reached 8 billion, nearly 8 billion people. And it is expected to exceed maybe 9 to 10 billion by 2050. And this growing population, world population, requires a growing amount of the food. Yeah. And previously, Japan was relatively rich, and then that's why Japan can buy some food without big troubles from outside world or other countries. But of course, yeah, in many other countries, population has been growing so rapidly compared to Japan. So that means the growing population needs some food. So that's why many other countries also need to import the food from other countries. So there is a very big competition worldwide. That's why this is a very big concern in Japan. So how we can compete with some other countries, yeah, for the food import, yeah. And that's why we have to take back the kind of more agriculture, agribusiness, not for the import, but inside the country. Yeah, we have to take back the more vital agriculture or agribusiness in Japan. Yes, and also some other competitor is the bioenergy. Yeah, because sometimes this grain or some rice, for example, rices or grains are often used for bioenergy. It is also a competitor now or even in the future. Okay, so this is just a brief data of the abundant farmland in Japan. So now, totally the arable farmland is nearly this one, and 452 million hectares all through Japan. But at the same time, the area of the abundant farmland is about 42 million hectares. It is nearly the 10% of the overall farmlands. And this area of the abundant farmland has been growing so rapidly due to the aging of the farmers. Yes. Yeah, and of course, some areas can be restored to the paddy field, but some other areas like this is actually not restorable because this is already a forest. It is not easy to take back to the paddy field. That's why we need to keep this arable farmlands as much as possible, even in the circumstances of the elderly or aging population. This is a very big challenge. And this is how multiple functional roles look like in Japan or some in other worlds. Yes, yeah. Maybe you don't need to read this. Yeah, this is all in Japanese, but broadly, there are some functions of the environmental resource conservation or conservation of the culture or the recreation, tourism, any other cultural institute, facility, something like that, and disaster mitigation or something like that. This type of multifunctional roles are available in rural areas. But if the rural areas are abandoned or rural community get deteriorated, so maybe even these multifunctional roles also will be deteriorated. So maybe it affects not only the rural people, but also the urban people. So this is the reason why even urban people needs to consider seriously about the rural sustainability issue. This is just a list of some very basic terminology in Japanese rural studies, maybe you don't need to know. You don't need to remember about that. But yeah, maybe it is good to know. Good for you to know that it is inaka. Inaka is means rural areas. Rural areas. Inaka. Yeah, inaka. And also the shuraku is a kind of village, rural village. Yeah, but we always use the shuraku in Japanese for a rural village. Yes. For other parts, maybe you don't need to know. You don't need to know. This one, local business. Yeah, we call it, and this is a very traditional word, but we call it like nariwai, nariwai. This is a very local agricultural business. We call it nariwai. Yeah. Maybe it's hard for you to remember, so don't worry. Yeah. Then, okay, so we go to the very fundamental or basic question again. Why is rural planning needed? As we saw, maybe Japanese rural areas has a lot of issues to tackle. And these rural issues are not important not only for rural areas itself, but also for urban areas, for a kind of multifunctional roles or ecosystem services. And then why we need a very specific rural planning challenge, it's because rural area has its own uniqueness, compared to urban areas. A very special points compared to urban areas. That's why we need a specific rural planning challenge. Yeah. So these are the examples. Land, for example, land serves as a means of production. Rural area is an area for food production. Food production is critical for all the population in Japan or in the country. And also, while urban areas have achieved efficiency through functional differentiation, but rural areas are structured based on the complexity of functions. Complexity of function means that every rural rural resident has to do a lot of things compared to urban areas. Urban people can relatively focus on some specific issue, like for example, their specific job, specific lifestyle. But rural area has to do a lot more, to keep the rural areas sustainable. It is a bit heavy burden for younger people. So this is also one reason why younger people do not like to be in rural areas. But anyway, then urban areas are also characterized by densely populated spaces, but rural areas are sparsely populated. Yes. And also rural area has a lot of traditions, but urban area do not. Because very new, and urban areas are very new. It's a so-called anonymous society. This is the last slide for the first section about the administrative hierarchy of Japan. Yeah, of course, this is nearly the same as Indonesia, but in Japan, we categorize it like this. And the first, at the top best is the nation, of course, national level. So the national governments always formulate some national level plan. And then following the national level plan, then prefecture needs to formulate some prefecture level plan, rural plan. And then even under the prefecture, there are multiple municipalities. And also each municipality has to formulate more specific rural plan. And then under the municipalities, there are a lot of rural villages or the shuraku, as I introduced before, shuraku. And also even each of the small rural village or small rural community needs to consider their plan, by themselves. That is the issue. And then, of course, the rural planning itself has a lot of scales, like shown here. But rural planning studies or academic studies in Japan mainly focus on this area, this this level, like rural village or rural community level. Yes. Okay. Okay. Do I still have time? It's until still have time. Okay, still have time. Yes. Okay, I'm relieved. Yes. Okay. So now I move on to the next section about the change of the rural governance system. It is a bit academic, and it is not just for Japan, but also for some other international studies. It is a very common academic theories of the rural governance. And so first, let's see what is governance. Governance. But governance is very well-known word, but it is defined as like this: the way rules, norms, and actions are structured, sustained, and regulated, and held accountable. Then the degree of formality depends on the internal rules of a given organization and externally with its business partners. This is a bit business-oriented definition, but according to or based on this definition, I can simplify what the rural governance is. Rural governance is simply the way rules and norms, actions of actors are structured for challenges facing rural areas. And this is maybe a very simplified version of the definition of rural governance. So key point is rules. Rule means, for example, how people consider or how people tackle the rural issues. And the how is the one very important point. And the other is actors. The actors is simply like who. So who deal with, who are engaged in these challenges, who are engaged in this planning, something like that. So how and who are the very important points to realize this rural governance. Okay. Then I briefly categorize some styles of the rural governance, maybe based on the international academic literature, in the past. Actually, I had some solo literature review of the international rural studies, and then I categorized it into these 5 types. Okay, so first one is the exogenous. Exogenous may not be so familiar to you. It's not so familiar words to you, but simply you can understand it like top down, yes. Exo means kind of external or outside, top down. But outside actor is always commonly a government. So governments do decision making or do the planning, and then rural communities or rural residents follow the governments. Yes, this is a very typical style of the top-down governance or exogenous governance or exogenous approach. Yes. So the who and how are the big key point, as I said. But who here is like government. Government has a very critical role in this type of style. And the government, how, makes a plan with consideration of public opinions. Of course, government, if previously in Japan, for example, governments decided almost everything. So rural community differently just follows governments. But some sort of the issues, like for example, the quality of life or living condition in rural areas, governments do not perfectly understand the very local issues. So that's why governments need to listen to some public opinions. So that's why, and maybe 1970s or something, then not direct top-down was not so preferable, but rather, even in this top-down style, the citizen participation became a very important point. So it is so-called the participatory planning. So even rural community or community members or residents also participate in the planning process or decision-making process. And this is the current top-down style. Yes. But the next step, people or some academic researchers start considering that the top-down style is not good for rural areas or rural planning. Because, as I said, governments or outsiders do not know what is actually the most serious issues in rural areas. That's why some another approach appeared, emerged. It is like an endogenous approach, endogenous style of governance. It is also very quite familiar in Japan, endogenous approach. And you can see from this figure, endogenous approach is very purely kind of bottom-up. So bottom-up means that rural communities or rural residents do everything by themselves. So they do decision-making by themselves, or the rural residents do planning all by themselves. And this is a very different style of the approach, endogenous. But it is very effective. It is considered very effective because the rural resident is, it is the rural residents who know the actual problems in their own areas. So they need to think about it by themselves. And this is an endogenous style. And then who is in this style is like local residents, of course, or local community, and consider everything by themselves. And this is also a very self-help approach. But maybe you can imagine that it is, theoretically good, but it is practically not so possible, right? This type of very pure endogenous approach. It's not so possible for rural people to do everything by themselves. Because they do not have sufficient resources, even financial resources or human resources, etc. So another or bit advanced style of the endogenous approach emerged, which is called neo-endogenous. It is also quite popular in international rural studies, neo-endogenous. And this is, of course, the centered around the rural community. Because this is a kind of endogenous approach. So rural community has to do, for example, for the decision-making or planning by themselves. But of course, they lack some resources. So they need some support from some outside stakeholders like this, a variety of stakeholders or facilities, governments, residents, or sometimes academicians, companies. So they do not have sufficient resources. That's why they need a lot of support from outside. So they access these type of several stakeholders. This is a very new style of the endogenous rural governance. And then, of course, the central initiative is on the local residents, the same as the endogenous approach. But at the same time, how? Our methodology is a bit different because the rural residents needs to pursue the support from a variety of stakeholders, both inside and outside. Sorry, I cut the. Okay, don't need. Okay, where is that? Okay, so this is the last one. This is also very unfamiliar word, maybe, to you. Nexogenous approach. Nexogenous is a bit, how to say, artificial word by some researcher. But nexogenous is from the mixture of the endogenous and exogenous. This is a mixed word of endogenous and exogenous. But in other words, some scholars say that this is a so-called social innovation. Yes. And actually, the social innovation and the neo-endogenous governance is very similar, as you can see here on this. But what is different is here, like that, this arrow, yes. So in the neo-endogenous approach, or neo-endogenous governance, of course, in the center is the rural community, and the rural community seeks for some support from outside. Yeah, but in the social innovation approach, rural community do not need to take initiative anymore, but every stakeholder is involved can freely do do the kind of planning or decision making. So this is how to say, easiest way to explain is like decentralization of the initiative. Yeah. So initiative is not only on the rural communities, but on some other stakeholders can take initiatives. And this is a very novel style. And it is also very theoretical, and there are very few areas which can actually realize this type of style as social innovation. Yeah. But even in Japan, this is also considered very necessary in the very depopulated area. They don't have sufficient human resources, so that's why they need some support, or they need to have some collaboration with some stakeholders. I think this is also very important to realize or to keep the very active agribusiness, not only in Japan, but also in other countries. Maybe rural areas now, the modern rural areas always need to seek for the kind of collaboration with some stakeholders, outside stakeholders. But maybe I think this is a very common. So maybe you can learn something from this, this type of this approach. Okay. And also, this is the main topic in domestic or Japanese rural planning studies, and also the relationship with the international rural governance theory, as we saw, as I introduced in the past. Yeah. So okay. So from the bottom, this is the summary of the 5 types of rural governance styles, in the world internationally. Starting from the exogenous top-down to bottom-up with some citizen participation, the top-down with citizen participation, but change it to the bottom-up to neo-endogenous, bottom-up but mixed approach, and then finally decentralized approach like social innovation. This is the flow of the rural governance theory. And now, Japan may be, where is the current Japan? It's like maybe somewhere around here, Japan. Even now, still many rural villages are still taking on this type of exogenous style with citizen participation. And in some very limited and advanced areas, this neo-endogenous style has been challenged and practiced. Yes. And then now we are seeking for how to achieve this next step, social innovation. Yeah. Yes, this is the current position of the Japanese rural studies in the pile of the international rural governance theories. Yes. Okay, how many slides? Only 5 slides from now. Only 5 slides. Okay, so now I have a brief introduction of the how Japan tackles this type of challenges, a variety of challenges, and this is a very typical policy for the Japanese issues, like direct payment system in Japan. I don't have much time to explain so thoroughly about this, but simply speaking, this is very good, very well considered policy in Japan. Yeah, the key point is that direct payment is, maybe you may know that governments directly, literally, directly pay some money to local people, a local community. Yeah. But why? So there are several, totally 3 purposes for this direct payment systems. But the most important point is like this, on the left side, payment for the activities to enhance the multifunctionality. Simply speaking, this picture quality is very low, but maybe you can imagine that there are many people, many local residents working for some cleanup activities. Yeah, these type of things are actually very heavy burden for the current rural residents. So many people actually do not want to do that. They do not have a strong motivation for this type of activities. Yeah, please imagine that. Sometimes in every weekend we have to do this. We have to join this type of activities. Yeah, it is quite heavy for younger people. So many younger people do not want to. But governments, consider how to motivate people for this type of activities. So that's why they pay directly money to the participants. Yeah. So if the local residents participate in these activities, they can get paid. Yeah. This is simply kind of a motivation building challenge of the Japanese government. Yeah. And it is actually very effective. Yeah. And also, this one, direct payment to farmers in the hilly and mountainous areas. This is also very important because in the hilly and mountainous areas, like here, very paddy field are established on the very steep slopes. Which means that it is very hard to maintain those paddy fields or farmlands. Yeah, very heavy, and also it's also very hard to do the cultivation, farming activities in this type of farmlands. So of course it leads to a kind of demotivation of the people. So that's why these type of areas are often abandoned first. But of course, to keep the kind of multifunctionality or ecosystem services, governments wants people to continue working for this type of area, working in this type of area. That's why governments pay money to the people who are engaged in the agriculture or conservation activities in this a bit heavy area or inconvenient area like here. Yes. Okay. So this is a very typical challenge of Japanese government direct payment system. Yes. Another one is also very important now. Yes. And this is so-called local vitalization cooperators. Still have time. Okay. Yes. Okay. So in short, this is a system to pay some money to people who work in rural areas. For example, if one younger people like you, move to the rural areas and do some support activities, actually these people should stay in the rural areas. But if they stay in rural areas and help some activities in the local activities, then they can get paid a salary. And the amount of salary is not so bad. So that's why it attracts a lot of people from urban areas to rural areas, especially the younger people to rural areas. Yeah. Okay. This can be skipped. Yeah, this can be skipped. Okay, so these are the last slides. Yes. But if time is already up, then maybe I can introduce it in the next session. This is actually connected to the next session, the session 2. So maybe I can skip it, so I can finish it now. But yeah, if necessary, what should we do? Shall we stop at this?
it's okay. Just up to you, sir. Yes.
After me. After me. Okay. Okay. Only 3 slides.
Because we still have the second session. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I can stop it.
Yeah.
I can stop it now. Yeah, because it takes time. Yeah. So, okay. So thank you very much for the listening.
All right. Okay, so that was the end of the presentation of Onitsuka Sensei here. Please give applause for Onitsuka Sensei. Thank you very much. Now,
Thank you.
all right. So we are going to have the Q&A session for this first session. Now, just in case you want to ask question, you just can raise your hand, and I'm going to help you by giving you the microphone. You can also introduce yourself first to Dr. Onitsuka. All right. So, is there any question? Raise your hand. All right. Okay. Kamu dulu ya. Okay. So while you were preparing, so Onitsuka Sensei, yes, a village in Indonesia is actually almost the same. So it is a small rural settlement or community, typically characterized by a relatively small population and a predominantly agriculture or rural economy. Since in Indonesia we have so many tribes, so sometimes the rural area also has some influence from the way the tribes do some activity. For example, in Bali we have suba, or it is kind like terasiring, which is also involved not only the way they practice the agricultures, but also the norm in life. That is one example in Bali. But we also have another thing in Java that involves some organization to use water together in agriculture. All right, okay, so it's very enlightening presentation.
Yes.
Now, yes, just pertanyaannya gimana? Dia udah maju ke depan atau? All right, so I'm going to give the microphone to you. You can just come on in front. All right.
Sorry,
Yeah,
camera.
is it there?
Okay.
Okay, so Mas Aswin, can you move the camera so that Dr. Onitsuka can see the student face?
Sorry, my camera for the students now.
My camera,
off?
my camera.
Off. Okay.
Yes. All
Fine, I
right.
can see.
Okay. Nah,
I'm just,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, please.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Jessica Ferdiana Gita from Class A Agribusiness. As we know, technology in Japan is very advanced, but sometimes because of technological advance, many people lost their jobs. So, how does Japan respond to this without misunderstanding rural communities who still use traditional agricultural? Because rural communities in Indonesia sometimes still find it difficult to accept technology in the agricultural sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. All right. So this is about how the rural areas community respond to the advancement of technology. All right. Do you want
Okay.
to answer or?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but I want to know more about the technology. What kind of technology do you mean? And kind of machine, agricultural machineries, or some
Yeah.
other ICTs?
Yes, ICTs in Indonesia.
Smartphones. Which one? And
Because maybe I'm going to give you a bit description about what happened in Indonesia, because mostly people who live at the rural is farmers, so sometimes they are the one who do the production. Sometimes you know that it is not only production, but we need to sell However, sometimes in Indonesia, there is a fragmented information on price or it is asymmetry. But you know that there is actually information from website or others. Somehow there is a difficulty for farmers here because lack of accessibility to the internet, and also maybe in some villages are Wi-Fi. We are not like in Japan. So yeah, what do you think, and what is your opinion on how to resolve this based on your knowledge?
Okay.
Because this is mainly
I understand. I
developing
understand. Yeah.
developing country. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your explanation. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Okay, but first of all, in Japan, actually, we always suffer from the kind of technology introduction in rural areas. Maybe Japan's situation is a bit more serious than Indonesia because most population are elderly people. So elderly people do not use any technology, or elderly farmers. They do not, for example, actively use the internet or something. So they use a very traditional way of the marketing. And also in Japan, maybe I'm not sure you know much of the Japanese agricultural system. So I briefly explain that, Japanese farmers are typical Japanese farmers traditionally sell their produce directly to the crops. JA is Japanese agricultural crops. JAs are everywhere in Japan. And then rural farmers traditionally do not need to directly sell their produce to market. But they just give it to the crops. The crops take care of everything. So that's why Japanese farmers don't know much of the modern agribusiness, because they have no experience by themselves. They just ask crops to sell it to someone, blah, 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 and then get some money back from the crop. This is a very typical Japanese system. But after the internet penetration growing, maybe since 10 years ago, or 5 to 10 years ago, and some farmers, some very motivated farmers, try to do direct marketing, directly sell it to the kind of consumers using the online, for example, websites or something like that. But at the same time, in Indonesia, you said that even Indonesia has a very small scale community, rural communities, but still the size is a bit bigger. I guess, I think bigger than Japan. And also there are a lot of children, younger people. Is it correct?
Yes, yes.
There are many younger people even in rural villages in Indonesia.
Rural villages, yes.
Rural people are very familiar with this type of technology. So maybe now, there must be some educational challenges. For example, how to efficiently use this type of technology for the agribusiness or agri-marketing. But maybe younger people can learn it very quickly. So you have a lot of kind of potential compared to Japan. Japan has no such a kind of expectation actually.
But when I was there, maybe 4 months ago, there are lessons learned that I have before going back from Japan. The first one is the contract farming that done by GA Air Corporation, which is I think Indonesia needs to learn about that. Jadi mereka itu menggunakan kontrak farming ya, semacam adanya hubungan kalau misalnya para petani itu ingin mencari informasi harga akan dibantu. Akan tetapi kalau di Indonesia, let me explain to my student first.
Yes.
Kadang tuh petani tidak selamanya bisa memenuhi kontrak farmingnya ya, atau agreement ya. Kadang kalau misalnya di petani tebu dan lain sebagainya. Kemudian jawaban dari Pak Onitsuka ini yang kedua itu adalah bagaimana cara menjawab pertanyaanmu itu adalah dengan memanfaatkan adanya generasi muda yang ada di desa ya, karena mereka more aware to they are more aware to technology such as cell phone. So hopefully that the young generation in the village can also help to transfer the information from the government or maybe from website. Kita tahu PIHPS ya adik-adik ya, itu adalah website untuk informasi harga ya, to the elderly. And the third things that we learn from Japan is memang the scale of business, they do it in a very large scale business that is integrated to GA or meaning Japanese corporation ya, yang ada kontrak farmingnya itu. That is a bit different with us because although our farmers are so many ya kan, tapi yang paling banyak adalah petani gurem ya, small scale farmers ya, small scale farmers that need to increase their knowledge, increase their skill through many things ya. Seperti itu jawabannya ya. Okay, I hope it answers your question. Thank you. Yeah. Alright, Ade. Yeah. But of course, in Indonesia, although we have so many young generation in the village, Onitsuka Sensei, but there is another challenge for Indonesia's rural younger generation because they tends to interest more to move to the urban area because of fulfilling their needs on continuing study and also working like that is sometimes okay. All right, so that was the first question. Thank you very much, Onitsuka Sensei. Now we open second question. Please. Okay. Come forward. Thank you. Question.
Oh, students come.
Yeah.
Always come forward.
Come forward.
To give
The
some
student
questions.
come
It's
forward.
different from Japan.
Okay. Fotonya Mas kelihatan sudah? Alright, kesinian. Nah,
I can
okay.
see.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
あ、おはよう。
私の名前はNesita Megandara
Oh.
Putri desu. I'm from Class B Agribusiness. Thank you for the opportunity for me to ask. In Japan, agriculture has become an important part of the country's economy and is a large source of income for farmers. Kenichiro Onitsuka Sensei, I want to ask why is Japanese agriculture so much more advanced in Indonesia, which is an agricultural country? Thank you.
All right. So,
Sorry. Please repeat the first sentence. What is Japan's agriculture?
why is Japan's agriculture is more advanced
More
compared
advanced.
to Indonesia, which is
Is it?
actually agricultural country? Thank you,
Is it
ya, Ade.
advanced?
Okay. All right.
Is it advanced? Yeah. I think, advanced means due to a kind of mechanization or kind of pesticization, fertilizer. Yeah. Every technologies related to agriculture, has been advancing rapidly in Japan. Yeah. But at the same time, I do not know much about the Indonesian issues, Indonesian situation. Indonesia agriculture is not so advanced, is it correct? Sorry.
Well, maybe when we are speaking about the agricultural in Indonesia, I think this is more of the farmers who live in urban area. You know that the challenge is they are those who produce plant or food for consumers, which is sometimes in town, but somehow the value chain is not fair to the farmer, although they produce many, but sometimes all of the income generation or the biggest income goes to the traders. all right?
Traders.
And maybe you can also looking back to Japan climate. I mean, you have four seasons, right? So when I go back to when I take a look at Japan season, it has four. It means that maybe if I'm correct me if I'm not wrong. So you just do the production on one season, but we amazed on how you can fulfill the food sufficiency for the whole season.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you have the point of the Japanese agriculture very well. Yeah. And yeah, as you can say, as you said that firstly, we have one cycle of the crop harvest in a year. And this is for the rice production. Yeah, we cannot grow the rice in winter season. But actually, at the same time, in winter season, some farmers grow some vegetables in the greenhouse to compensate for the less production, paddy production, and also, okay. So actually, this is very well known in Japan that rice farming in Japan is actually not profitable at all. Yeah. This is actually the very well-known fact. So that's why rice farmers do not want to keep the rice cultivation. The only profitable rice cultivation are available in for example, Hokkaido, or in some very limited areas which has a very large scale farmland, a paddy field, very large paddy field. But maybe this is the same as Indonesia. Some other parts of the Japan are very mountainous. So arable farmlands are very limited. Yeah. And also the farm plot is very small compared to the Hokkaido, for example. Hokkaido is like this, for example. They can directly cultivate using a very big, for example, tractors or some other combines, blah, blah, blah. This is very efficient. So it is very profitable. But most of the other areas in Japan, farmers cannot get very much benefit. That's why most of the new farmers do not want to do the rice farming, but rather some vegetable and also the vegetable and fruits. Yeah, fruits are very actually profitable. Some limited vegetables and fruits are very preferable among the young farmers. Yeah, otherwise nobody want to do the rice paddy. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I hope that it answers the question. Okay. Right. Now the last question before we have the break. Is there one question? Okay. Silakan maju. Yang panjang ya. Perkenalkan. Saya tertarik untuk sekolah di Jepang. Bilang gitu.
Okay, firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Rafli Pasha Pratama, and my question is: are there any unresolved obstacles in Japan regarding rural areas? If so, what are these obstacles and how to overcome them? Thank you.
Obstacles. Yes. Obstacles. Yeah. Obstacles. Yeah. Firstly, I can say again that the very biggest obstacle is the population. Population. Yeah. This is the very fundamental points for many other kind of small scale problems. Yeah. Most of the small scale problems are based on the population issues in Japan. So first, this is the issue. And then how to cope with these population issues is quite unknown actually for me. It is the most important challenge, but nobody can come up with a very effective solution. Yeah, so maybe if I can get some solution or idea from you, yeah, it is very highly welcome. But we always seek for some potential solution. So that's why I, for example, focus on the kind of technology. Yeah, this is a very strong reason why I focus on this technology, especially the, for example, communication technology. Sorry, this is actually the topic for the session two. Session two, I will talk about the technological issues. But yeah, at this moment, yeah, because using the communication technology, we can easily connect to someone far from here, for example. So for example, rural area is very isolated area. So without any communication technology, and they always keep isolated. They can just directly communicate with some very neighbors. Sometimes they call someone, some relatives or friends, but they cannot have a lot of chances to communicate with some other people who has a potential to collaborate in the future. But I think if we can introduce the communication technology, there can be a kind of more broader networks, collaboration networks to tackle this population issues. So population in rural areas is very small, shrinking, but at the same time, if they can connect to someone else and get some support from someone else outside the region, then they will together be a very kind of potential solution in the future. That's why I focus on the technology. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but this is a very important point, and yeah, thank you very much. I'm really interested in that.
Thank you. Oke, sudah jelas ya. Emang ya di sana itu, aku pakai bahasa Indonesia aja ya, nggak boleh julid. Jadi itu emang populasinya sangat rendah ya. Jadi itu yang membuat pertaniannya menjadi challenging gitu. Tetapi yang lesson learn yang kita peroleh itu adalah mereka itu bisa memanfaatkan teknologi dengan baik. Bahkan profesor ini adalah profesor yang juga berkait dengan minat new technology dan sosial media ya untuk mengatasi hal tersebut ya. Jadi menggunakan teknologi. Pertaniannya skala besar menggunakan teknologi, jadi tidak terlalu banyak manusia gitu. Efektif dan efisien, alhamdulillah. Oke, ternyata sampai jam 11.15 ya kalau misalnya mau tanya. So it is still until Indonesian time is 11:15 ya. Or Japanese time is 12:20. So we need some question. I think I want to ask question to you. This is related to your CV. Earlier you also mentioned your expertise is on the application of new technologies, particularly social media. So I'm very interested to know your research on social media with the with the rural development. So can you please explain more about that social media? Thank you.
Social media, yeah. Actually, yeah, as I said now, and then I consider that social media is a very high potential tool for establishing the kind of new connection or new kind of community using the online platform. And sorry, I think I also say that this is a very central topic for the session 2. I will
session 2 is okay.
A lot of other researches or
I
knowledge.
will save it for session 2. All right.
Yeah, but at this moment it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Any question? Adik-adik, ayo.
I also want to ask some questions.
You want to ask a question, boy? Or maybe you want to ask question to our student. It's okay.
Yeah, if nobody wants to say something, then I.
All right.
Can I ask you, all of you, one question?
Okay.
Yeah, you are the students in the course of agribusiness. All the students here in this room are learning the agribusiness.
Yeah. Approximately almost 80 students is tahun keberapa kamu, Dek? This is new for them to get international lectures with you as guest speakers. They study Introduction to Agribusiness Management, meaning that they learn the meaning of management first. It is because I'm one of the lecturer in their class, I can show you that so far the student has learned about how they the process of management, starting from planning until doing the action. But this is in the field of agribusiness, meaning that in agriculture, or we are doing a business in agricultures. And in Indonesia, mostly we have two types of commodity. First is annual plan, and the other one is like crops or fruits. And because we have so many fruit and vegetables, we also have like fruit that is planting yearly, like durian, like rambutans, and etc. So some student we will also learn how to make a feasibility analysis from particular farm management. And it is also related to the farmer who is mostly live in a rural community. So in rural community, usually compared to urban, it has a wider land, so it can be used to plantation area, because Indonesia is basically not only in Java Island. So we have, but most population is in Java, Bali, and also Java Island sih. But we have also Sumatra, Kalimantan, which is going to be our new capital city in Kalimantan. So you need to one day visit Indonesia. And that is all. I think the rural area in Indonesia is almost the same. We call it village and governed by village head or village chief. In Indonesia known as Kepala Desa or Lurah. This is, in Indonesia local leaders So these local leaders are responsible for overseeing the day-to-day affairs of the village. So Onitsuka Sensei in Indonesia's government also pay more attention to the village, because it has one specific ministry in Indonesia named Kemendes. Yes, Ministry of Village. Yes, we have kind of one ministry that pay attention to the village. And our recent president named Jokowi, from the first and the second period of his reign, he has some project to Indonesian village so that Indonesian village will be independent, such as giving some grants. Therefore, Indonesian village needs to make an organization that produce the agribusiness or other business, so that the fund will keep running. And also the fund is also can be given for social purposes, such as to help village community to go to school and providing good health service in Indonesia. That is some of the description for Indonesians village community in this era, in the Jokowi era. We are going to have an election next year, and hopefully the next president will still contribute to the village as good as that.
Okay. Thank you very much. And
Okay.
so you are so that means you are all of the students are interested in the agribusiness or at least agriculture. Is it correct?
Yes.
All of you are interested in agriculture.
They belong to Faculty of Agriculture, but Faculty of Agriculture has two study program. The first is agribusiness, and the second is agrotechnology, and they belongs to agribusiness study program.
but you are enrolled in this course because you have interest in agriculture or agribusiness. Is it correct?
Because Taufik is going to go home, right, in 28, so
Yeah,
hopefully you come to Indonesia one day. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so no more question. We are going to the second session. As a moderator, I would like to say thank you for Dr. Kenichiro Onitsuka from Kyoto University, who has enlightened us with such a valuable presentation. All right, so I'll see you again on the second session with Dr. Onitsuka around 1 p.m. or 3 p.m. on Japanese time, right? Okay. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay.
Mr. Onitsuka, have you had coffee this morning?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
See you later.
See you.
See you 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hey, 2 weeks later.
Bye.